This poem, or blessing as O'Donohue may have preferred to call it, has stuck with me since the moment I read it because it invites us into a deeper conversation about hunger. No, not the way we hunger for food, but the invisible needs we carry with us each day. It invites us to recognize the ways we overlook the gifts we already have, and the ways in which the double-sided coin of need and fulfillment rely on one another to cultivate a sense of empathy and gratitude. That line, bread for the hunger no one sees, calls our attention to the many ways we silently hunger in our lives. Hunger for connection, hunger for attention, hunger for intimacy, hunger for purpose, hunger for acceptance, hunger for resources. Each of us, we hunger for something quietly. For some of us, it's the same thing we've starved for our whole lives, what therapists may call our core wounds. And for others, our hunger shifts over time. In some instances, we exist alongside this quiet hunger for so long that it becomes a part of our identity in ways we may not even recognize. Like negative emptiness in art, we learn to structure our whole world around it. We choose jobs and partners, build families, and form our personalities as attempts to satisfy, finally, that hunger. We are not wrong to hunger in this way. There is no shame in it. To hunger is to be human. But in O'Donohue's blessing, we are also called to see the ways in which we are already fulfilled, the ways in which we receive the bread or the antidote to our hunger. O'Donohue includes a litany of the simple nourishment we receive each day that we so often overlook, the ways in which our hunger is sated that are easy to take for granted. He writes, the quiet loyalty of breath, the tent of thought where I shelter, waves of desire I am sure to, and all beauty drawn to the eye. Breath, thought, desire, beauty. These are all things we have in our possession right now, but frequently look past as we choose to instead focus on what we do not have. Again, like the metaphor of negative space in art, you can all envision it in your head, right? The two faces in white, and then in the center, the vase that's black. We're all guilty of overlooking what is right in front of us from time to time, telling ourselves some variation of, I have the gift of health, but it's not enough because I do not have $1 billion. I have a family who loves me, but it's not enough because I don't live in a mansion. I have a mind capable of imagining the most incredible things, but it is not enough because I do not have fame. So while there's no shame in hunger, we must be wary of the ingratitude that can arise when we allow hunger to be the focal point of our inner world. If we find ourselves in this place of human forgetfulness, of oversight for all we have and all the resultant ingratitude that may arise from it, there are ways we can get back on track and reorient our minds towards gratitude. The first way is actually found in the final invitation of our reading this morning, the ways in which the double-sided coin of needs and fulfillment rely on one another. Once during a class discussion, I made the common assertion that one cannot experience joy without suffering, to which my professor replied, "Is that so? How do you know?" Admittedly, this caused a bit of an existential crisis in me because I had never once questioned the rationality of this statement. Nor could I really. The experience of living is inseparable from the experience of suffering, just as it is inseparable from the experience of happiness, even if only in brief spurts. I maintain, however inaccurately from a philosophical perspective, but accurately within a Taoist perspective, that the world and all we feel and experience in it is found on a sort of two-sided coin of polarities, with a seemingly infinite spectrum in between. Light, dark, male, female, rich, poor, healthy, sick, loud, quiet, suffering, contentment, hunger, satiation, and on and all the ways we exist in between those two polarities. If this is the case, then to even understand the other polarity, we must have had some taste of it. Allowing ourselves to accept the reality of both experiences, in this case, hunger and satisfaction, does two things. It creates empathy, and that empathy cultivates gratitude. Let's examine how experiencing or being proximate to hunger, and again, I am speaking of more than just our bellies, how being proximate to that creates empathy. How many of you have worked in the service industry at some point in your life? Where you served food as a waiter, waitress, took calls at a call center, worked at the front desk of a hotel, anything in which you were the face of customer service for your business or organization. That was almost all of you in this room. Think about how working in that position changed your perspective and behavior towards people in customer service afterwards. Were you kinder? Yeah. Were you more patient? Did you tip better? Yeah. Why? Because you had experienced how awful it could be sometimes. You knew first-handedly what it felt like to be yelled at for something completely out of your control, or for a minor mistake. The universally challenging experience of being in customer service work cultivated empathy in you. And from this place of empathy, you also create gratitude. Once we've worked in that capacity, we know how necessary those jobs are, about how thankless they can be. I am filled with gratitude that there is someone there to answer my questions at the bank, direct me to the right aisle at the grocery store, help me get my Taco Bell order correct. Essentials, right? Or help me with my phone bill. I can better appreciate that I have a job where I'm surrounded by people who are patient and kind to one another 99.9% of the time. Having empathy allows me to notice the effort that others have contributed to my life and to the greater good, which opens my heart to appreciating them and their roles more fully. So beefing up your capacity for empathy directly impacts your sense of gratitude. There are other methods to cultivate gratitude worth mentioning, though, as well. Training our brains to invert how we speak about or reflect on what we have or do not have is one of them. In the example I mentioned earlier, we can tend to overlook the ways we are nourished to focus instead on what we are lacking. True gratitude does not ignore the real challenges of our world. It is not ignorant to remaining needs. It simply places them in perspective. So what if we still notice what we're lacking but pivot to focus on the ways we are nourished? For example, I do not have $1 billion, but I do have the gift of health. I do not have a mansion, but I do have a family who loves me. I do not have fame, but I have a mind capable of imagining the most incredible things. This feels like such a minor shift. It's hard to imagine how changing the structures of our words could have a big impact on our outlook, but it really does. When we put intention behind how we word things, it means we are restructuring our thought processes as well. Some of you may have experienced cognitive or dialectical behavioral therapy. It's just the same thing. Creating new thought or behavioral routines creates new neural pathways that help us to get to gratitude quicker in the future. Mindfulness through journaling, meditation, lighting a candle or your family chalice once a day, and reflecting on what you are grateful for, or simply being present in the moment and paying attention to each detail are excellent ways to practically increase your sense of gratitude. Mindfulness helps you pay attention to those small things, like O'Donohue listed, that you would otherwise overlook. You can imagine it like lifting weights. Start small if you need to. List one thing a day you are grateful for, then 2, 3, 5, and eventually you train your eye and your mind to seek out and pay attention to those small hidden moments of gratitude. Before you know it, you will run out of paper, run out of candles, run out of meditation time listing all you are grateful for in a day. And a final way we can help to establish a deeper sense of gratitude in ourselves is through our religion. Carl Jung once famously wrote, "If our religion is based on salvation, our chief emotions will be fear and trembling. If our religion is based on wonder, our chief emotion will be gratitude." Think for a moment about those differences, about how many people operate from an orientation of fear, of trembling, a scarcity mindset. Think of how many people feel they must compete against or overpower another in order to get their needs met, as though all of life and their needs are a slice of pie that dwindles with every piece given to another. Is it possible they are oriented to this because their faith centers the narrative of sacrifice and suffering? That it tells you that you must earn salvation, which in some expressions of faith is an undeserved gift you could never repay, reserved only for a few. We are not perfect. And we are still capable of falling into this mindset. But we are ideally positioned to remain led by the chief emotion of awe that Jung speaks of. Be oriented to gratitude and see abundance rather than scarcity. When together in this congregation we create a place safe enough to express our needs, empathetic enough to hold one another in the depths of our hunger, when we have a community to share our overabundance, to hold us accountable to seeing the gifts that we do have right in front of us, we build a culture of gratitude here. If wonder and awe and gratitude abound in our church, a portal to viewing the wider world opens, and through it lay true siblinghood, true interconnection, true potential for spiritual enlightenment. Think of such a world that calls us to one another rather than to ourselves. And if all that wasn't convincing enough for you to begin your journey with gratitude, I have something else to sweeten the deal. Increasing your level of gratitude does more than make you a lovelier person to be around. It improves your life in so many practical and worthwhile ways. From Harvard Medical School, recent research has pointed to gratitude's myriad positive health effects, including greater emotional and social well-being, better sleep quality, lower depression risks, and favorable markers of cardiovascular health. New data from the Long-Term Nurses Health Study shows that it may extend your life. Yes, cultivating gratitude helps you reduce your stress, create better relationships, and boost your immunity. So, with that in mind, I am inviting us to take this theoretical exploration of gratitude and put it into practice now with what I'm going to call a mindfulness ritual. So let's dive deeply into the people, events, and effort that are so often overlooked and make room to express our gratitude for them. So I have several baskets, and I may ask for some help from someone, but I have baskets of crackers that I am going to pass around. Don't eat them yet. You will have a moment. We do have gluten-free as well, okay? So I will pass this over here. please choose to touch only the cracker you will eat? Thank you. We will begin when everyone has had a chance to be served. If you are joining us from home, I invite you to grab a cracker, a piece of bread, something like that, and join us with this ritual yourselves. Look at your cracker. This small piece of food is a miracle of interconnectivity. What you see now began as seeds of wheat, buried in land that had been cultivated by hands and machines alike, so that the soil would be just right for nurturing life. From there, our seed was watered, likely both through carefully planned watering efforts and through the gift of rain. The sunlight coaxing it from its seedling state each day as it grew into a tall and hardy stalk of wheat. Once at the appropriate time, somewhere between 100 and 250 days, it was harvested, again through the help of both hands and machines. The stalks of wheat then needing to be dried before separating the grain. Once the grain is separated, it is ground into flour, which when combined with water and salt, and yeast and more, each with their own processes of becoming, creates the dough from which our cracker is made. It spent time rising and baking, being wrapped, shipped, distributed, stocked at the grocery aisle, bought, divvied up, and passed to you. So many hours of time, so many resources used, so many hands at work to get it to this point in your hand. Let's pause here, take a deep breath, and say thank you quietly to each hand, each natural process, each step needed in the cultivation of raw materials to get to this point in the process. Now smell your cracker. Take a moment to appreciate the subtle notes of fragrance and the way it makes you feel, the memories that arise from such a smell. Then I invite you to place the cracker in your mouth and slowly, intentionally chew it. Take the time to taste each part of it, the salt. When you swallow, imagine the processes of your own body, which are perfect for breaking this food down to create energy that allows you to move your body and use your brain. Gratitude here comes from noticing. Noticing only happens when we take the time to be present, to focus our attention, and to express the way the person, the place, or the thing has impacted our lives. You can do this ritual with anything, from the food that you take in each day, to the movement of your limbs as you wash dishes, to the rustling of leaves as you sit outside, to the people around you. I encourage you to take the time each day to say, I noticed this. It impacted me this way. Thank you. And you will be amazed at how quickly you can cultivate a spirit of gratitude within yourselves, and how that gratitude will improve your life in return. Amen. May it be so, and blessed be.